Mitch Carmichael, the Majority Leader of the West Virginia Senate. Mitch, welcome back.
It's great to be here, Bray. Good morning.
So, you know, we've got all this budget conversation going, and one of the things that you've always been pretty good at is really telling us how we get through the maze and how we can understand it really in layman's terms. So one of the things that's concerning me is, and we're going to talk about this in just a minute with Danny Jones, is how we find compromise. But as you look at this $270 million, I guess, deficit shortfall, say 270 to 300 million, how would you go about trying to find a solution? What are you guys trying to figure out?
Here's the way we want to solve this problem, Bray. First, let me say there's as you mentioned, $270 million that we're short. Many in the legislature and from the governor's office want to take extreme measures to either raise $270 million in new revenue. In other words, take it out of the taxpayer's pocket. $270 million. That's an extreme position, I believe. Others want to cut your way out of it and just cut $270 million out of government right now. I believe that's an extreme position.
Yeah, and let me say, particularly with the cuts, I support cuts, and I think there's way more than $100 million in cuts. I mean, I continue to say I think there could be up to $1 billion in cuts. But that's got to be a researched, thoughtful plan that's then phased in over years. It can't, you know, to try to do something that drastic right now, that's irresponsible because it's going to cripple people who have no reason to expect it's coming.
I agree. I think it's just too drastic in the moment. What we need to do is take a measured, balanced approach. And I have a little diagram that I would like to show you and the viewers.
Oh, gee.
Okay, when everyone sees.
All right,
now,
so explain it to me.
Here's our problem, $270 million. We have the best way to solve this, I believe, is to cut government $100 million. And we believe we can find those cuts about 10% in a lot of the different accounts that we have. About a 10% cut over $1 billion amounts to $100 million, like any family would do.
And I'm actually starting to hear, we were talking to Senator Mike Hall, but there's starting to be some creative ideas that may not create much pain and sort of start to redefine our government that could last for centuries.
Oh, Bray, if somebody would have come in here and said, we're going to cut government $100 million, you just said, that is a great, you know, even the most conservative right-wing person would say, that is a great start. Get that $100 million. That's what we're doing here with this. Not the $270 million, but the $100 million in cuts. Then we have a taxpayer savings account that we've set aside money for just such circumstances when we don't have enough to meet our revenue. It's almost $800 million. We want to take $70 million from our savings account to balance this budget. Then we're willing to put in about $100 million in new revenue. And maybe your viewers can see this little diagram that I drew. It's from cigarette taxes. And so we would, you know, it's a little cigarette with the smoke coming in, would be. And that is a responsible thing to do, to put a 45-cent tax on cigarettes and then a couple other revenue measures that will get us to a balanced budget in an adult, responsible, balanced approach, not this all one way or all the other. And frankly, we cannot deal with these extremist positions any longer. We need to take a balanced, measured, adult approach.
Well, and I would think, you know, the most important thing through all this is maintaining a proper rainy day fund so that it doesn't, because, and I know some have said, well, we don't care what it does to our bond rating because it won't change the loans we have, and so we just won't run. But you don't know when you might need money. So I think from what I've heard, if you take out $70 million and continue to look for ways to pay that back over time, that our bond ratings stays unchanged, and then phase in some taxes and other revenue enhancements.
And the cuts that we'll be putting in place creates a structurally sound budget that accommodates all the needs of government as well as it respects the taxpayers. That's the way we have to approach this. And I know that you know, calmer heads will prevail on this, and we will get to the position of a balanced approach and have a great budget for the citizens of West Virginia.
Yeah, one of the things, Mitch, it seems like to me that, again, if you have a situation where this becomes, say, a priority for the next legislature, where you really start to focus. I'm talking about on January the 1st of 2017, on looking at every aspect of the budget, because right now we're only looking at a little less than half of about 40% of the budget, because all the federal money and all the DHHR and all that seems to be off the table. We need to look at all that, because I firmly believe there's a $500 million in DHHR alone that could be taken out in waste. Everybody knows about it. We see all that stuff. Those are things we got to look at, but you can't do that in the heat of the moment and without a long-term plan of how you get there.
That's right. And the next legislature, I hope I'm a part of it, will be able to take a more structured, balanced look at the long-term issues in our state. Let me just say, we're $270 million in the deficit because of our coal severance tax and the attack on the fossil fuel industries. Previous legislatures should have seen this coming. The executive branch should have seen this coming, but we're in dire straits in West Virginia. But I believe we've hit bottom. We've put the reforms in place that are necessary to catapult this economy and to revolutionize it. And I believe we're going to grow and grow and grow our way out of this.
Earlier in the week, I spoke up in Mason County about why I think West Virginia is going to be great again. And I do think it. I mean, and you look at a beautiful place like Mason County, and it really is. I wasn't saying that to just say it. It really is the most beautiful county, certainly in the western half of West Virginia, with all that flat land and river access. I mean, they could be a manufacturing kingpin of the whole country.
Well, and you had a great speech there that energized people to believe that, hey, we can be better. And this state is perfectly positioned for economic growth. And we've put the policies in place that will move our state forward, and I believe brighter days are ahead.